Hi, guys, Mike and Ricky, and this week we are talking about episode 7, the penultimate episode of Ahsoka. Michael, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing good, Ricky. I I made it from my flight.
Oh,
I had to make it in the other night from a flight, and it was stressful. It was stressful, but everything turned out okay.
okay.
I was flying in, and I had to make a connection to go to my next destination, and I was really concerned I was going to miss it. Of course, I
Oh,
went from
yeah,
one end of the terminal to the other,
of
and my
course.
plane took off. So I said, okay, I need some help here. I need to get where I need to go. They made arrangements to go on another airlines. They said, but you're going to have to get there in 5 minutes. And of course, it's all the way down back to the same terminal. So I run and I run and I run. And finally, the lady, before they closed the door, they said, come on in. We made an exception for you. We have a seat. Okay. So I go in and
Wow.
I sit down. Yeah. So everything's good. And I'm tired and we're up in the air. And I started noticing something really strange. And I
Oh,
thought, well,
yeah.
this is weird. So the stewardess came by and flight attendant, I don't want to get any, flight attendant walked by and I asked her, I said, ma'am, I said, I don't want to come across rude, but why does everybody on this plane are bald? And she looked at me and she said,
Okay.
sir, don't you know that you're on receding hairlines? And I didn't realize that. I didn't know that they had one. So this is good.
It's the Speaking Nerdy podcast with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
And my good friend and compadre, Mr. Ricky Poe.
Receding hairline.
Yeah. It's kind of concerned they let me on. Had to check my hair when I got home. So anyway. Oh, so how are you doing? Yeah.
Definitely made an exception for you.
So how are you doing, my friend?
Doing well.
Good.
We're recording a little late this week.
Yes, we are. Normally we
yeah.
are, our recording time is in the middle of the week and you get to see what's going on in a couple of days. But hey.
So this one probably might come out a little late, but we're going to try.
Yeah.
But
give you more time to watch. Yeah. Oh, yes,
exactly.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say my wife was in the hospital for a few days, so we had just gotten home, and then you had some things going on in your life as well.
Yeah,
so we decided to push one day for our recording, but that works. I think it'll
and
work.
The missus is doing better, right?
Doing much better.
Okay, good.
Doing much better.
Good.
Yep.
Thank goodness
for those
for that.
who might have seen it in the group or might have seen my post before, she's doing well now. So
that's awesome. That's good. Well, see, that's a good week. That's good.
Yep.
Some good stuff. And this week we are talking about Ahsoka, episode 7. What is it? Dreams and it's masters, dreams and something, dreams and
I don't know.
I don't know either. It's dreams and madness. Dreams and madness.
You mention it every week.
Yeah.
And I never look.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but it's Dreams and Madness, which almost sounds like a Marvel title, but anyhow. Loki's
there was
coming.
A little madness on this one.
Yes.
Loki is coming. And did we mention last week? We mentioned last week that Loki is going to come out a day early. It's going to start on the 5th, on Thursday.
That's a good reminder. Yes.
Yep.
And it's coming on Thursdays. Okay, so.
Yes, Thursday evenings, much like Ahsoka comes on.
Yeah.
Instead of, because they announced it was going to be a Wednesday release, but they actually decided to do Tuesday evenings. So they're going to do the same thing with the upcoming Loki series. I wonder if this is going to be the new norm.
Yeah, it's kind of odd. I mean, it's almost like they're doing us a favor by having it up. Because used to it was midnight. People stay up till midnight, especially especially people that are not dedicated like us to entertainment. That like right after they see it, they do a little podcast, do a little streaming thing, and then they start.
Yeah.
No, not us. We got lives,
Now,
people.
I would give you
We
a
got
week. We'll give
we
you a
got
few days at
families.
least.
Yeah, because we care. I mean, why would we spoil it for you? That's not because we're lazy. That was a joke. We're not lazy because we want
Speaking
to make.
of, there will be spoilers, so maybe we should go ahead and do our
Oh,
spoiler
let's
warning.
please do that, please. Well, you made it known, folks. So there are spoilers. Again, like we always tell you, if you have not seen the show, pause, stream it, come back, be a part, comment.
Welcome back.
There you go. Hey, by the way, let's talk about some friends of ours. You know what I'm talking about. Those wacky, crazy people from Tatooine Sun.
Hey, nerds, this is David with Tatooine Sons, a pop culture podcast. We believe that pop culture is the mythology of our generation. There is a story, it is written on our souls, and that all of these myths speak to that story. And that is why every Tuesday I talk about Star Wars and Marvel and DC and Lord of the Rings and whatever nerdy things we can think of with my two sons, Sam and Nate. It is a 30 to 45 minute celebration of all the weirdness that we love so much. Basically, Mom said we couldn't talk about it at the kitchen table anymore, so we decided to start a podcast. We hope you'll check it out. It's on every podcast app out there. Tatooine Sons. That's Tatooine SONS.
If y'all don't know, we do. If y'all don't know, we make this weird pause for a few minutes, and then we don't know when to stop the pause. So there you go. That's the magic. That's the magic of editing.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's some new. We got a lot of news. Nerdy
we do
news
have a lot
tonight,
of news.
we? I think
we do have a lot of nerdy news.
Let's kick it off then.
It's time for the nerdy happenings of the week.
You got a list for us, don't you? You got some stuff going on.
I have a bunch of things. So
Isn't
let's
that weird?
start off. Let's
Go
start
ahead.
off with box office news.
Mhm.
The Nun 2 tops the box office for a third week in a row, which seems
Really?
a little weird. Yeah,
For
horror
a
movie
horror
topping
movie
the box
doing that,
office
yeah.
3 times in a row. But it only added $8.4 million to its domestic gross.
Okay.
So, so being number one this week doesn't mean a whole lot.
Yeah. There's not a.
But
Yeah.
new release came in second, Expendables. Yeah, I said that right. Expendables. The Expendables 4, they have decided to remove the A and put a number 4 in it. And if you look it up online, it is spelled that way.
Yeah, no.
It's spelled that way on IMDb. It's so weird. Why do people do that? It's the same as the Fanforstic.
Yeah.
Fanforstic that came out, 4 or 5 years ago. Stop doing that.
It's
Anyway,
not really good marketing, people.
it isn't good marketing, and it makes it really hard to find.
Yes.
But it came in second place at $8.3 million.
Heard it wasn't doing very well in the box office. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the worst opening for an Expendables movie. Yeah. So Haunting in Venice and The Equalizer 3 came in third and fourth, respectively. And Barbie is still clinging on to fifth place as hard as it can.
Man,
I don't even know. I can't tell you how many weeks. Yeah, I can't tell you how many weeks Barbie has been in the top 5, just over and over and over again. But with that being said, movies are a thing, and they are a part of what we talk about a lot. The Writers Guild of America has reached a basic agreement with studios and streamers.
Yeah,
and the word is they've got kind of a basic agreement, but the contract language isn't finished yet.
Okay,
but they are saying they've come to an agreement with about AI and how many people should be in a writer's room for TV shows.
Interesting. Okay.
And also, they've come to some kind of agreement for streaming success residuals.
That's fascinating. That'd be interesting.
That is huge.
That's
and I'm interested to see how that's all going to play out.
Same here. I want to see the transparency. How are they going to do that?
I don't know. I mean, my guess is it's not going to be very transparent. And then we're going to hear actors and writers complain that they're not getting paid as much as they think they should be getting paid.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe we'll get more transparency.
I don't know.
Well, with that in mind, the actors strike, the SAG-AFTRA strike, they're supposed to go back into negotiations next week. A personal friend of mine posted on, I don't remember if it's Facebook or Twitter, that I saw him post this. He said Monday that negotiations were supposed to start Monday. Okay. But on the reports I've read, it doesn't give a day. It just says next week. Okay. So I don't know which is accurate, but he is somebody who is attached and would actually get like the letters from SAG-AFTRA.
Okay.
So if Monday, he said Monday, my guess is it really is Monday.
Okay.
But so since the writers came to a basic agreement, it's possible we could see an end to the actor strike as well. Well, now, that would be really interesting to get them both back to back.
And we talked about this morning, and I don't know if you have the information or not. We were talking about how the Actors Guild had taken a vote, and they're allowing voice actors of video games to also join the strike as well.
Yep.
And if you keep up with gaming news as far as the business, it's a rough go. It's almost as the game publishers pretty much they make the bulk of the profit, and you have a lot of the writers of the game writers and voiceover actors.
And a lot of people don't think about that. Yeah. I've actually talked to a few game writers. People don't think about there being writers behind a game, but there really are. They have to script the dialogue. They have to script the story arc. Even these massive multiplayer games, which are fairly open world, have some kind of story mode attached to them. And somebody has to write that. But it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. But the one thing I did read was that for the Writers Guild, the basics are there, but the contract language isn't done. But I think they expect it to be the way they negotiated it. My only fear is that when it gets to lawyers, they write it weird. And the actors don't sign it.
Yeah, it's when the lawyers get involved. Yeah, that's when the lawyers get involved. That's when things get a little, vague, and you have the lawyers checking the lawyers' work, and the lawyers checking the other lawyers' work, and then pretty soon, hopefully you can break through. Because right now, there's a lot of stuff, on hold until we get this.
Oh, absolutely.
Get this over with. So the schedule, absolutely. I mean, everything that we had planned down the road for scheduling, whether it was streaming or whether it's in the theaters, like specialist sequels that are counting on other shows and other movies to come out before they can even come out themselves. It's and there's a lot of that. That's the thing, with in the era of what they like to call superhero movies. They're very much in tandem with TV shows and in tandem with, Star Wars, the whole bit.
Yeah, we've already seen that kind of thing with Marvel, where it's like they couldn't release one thing, or they had to go re-edit something because it had to come out first.
Yeah.
They had to go re-edit it before they could release it because it would have given away something they were going to show in a later film or an earlier film. So it messed up their scheduling. So it's definitely a thing. Speaking of dealing with actors, Dumbledore from Harry Potter has died for the third time.
Oh my goodness!
So for those who are maybe not familiar, when the Harry Potter movies first came out, there was an actor playing the character of Dumbledore, and the actor passed away between movies. And because of that, they replaced the actor with Michael Gambon. Now, technically, this is a spoiler, but these books have been out forever. Or these movies have been out forever. In the later movies, Dumbledore passes away in the movies and in the book. But the new actor, Sir Michael Gambon, passed away this week. Sad news. Great actor, prolific British actor. He's done so many things. Probably most people wouldn't know most of the work he's done because most of it was British work, but a great actor, a great loss. But it, that's kind of the way things go. That with that in mind, we're talking about actors still. James Gunn has announced, apparently he was on Threads, which you know what Threads is, right?
Yes, that's the new
Threads is the Facebook of Twitter.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Or the Twitter of Facebook. Anyway, Facebook decided they wanted to make a Twitter competitor and came up with Threads. So, but on Threads, apparently James Gunn was having some conversations with people, and some people had asked him about, we're really confused about this whole DC universe thing. How's this all going to play out? When does the canon really start? And he did he confirmed that canon doesn't start until Creature Commandos. So that Creature Commandos animated series will be the start of the new DC continuity, the DC canon.
Fascinating.
But he also confirmed that 3 previous actors from the, Snyderverse, I guess. Anyway, previous DCEU continuum.
Yeah.
I don't know how you want to say it, but 3 actors would be returning for from that era. So the actress that plays Waller is going to continue.
Okay.
So that's great. She's a great actress. She plays that part really, really well. And the actor that plays, and I'm not going to try to pronounce his name because I know I'm going to butcher it. But the actor that played Blue Beetle will be returning. He will continue to play Blue Beetle in future films and shows. And John Cena is going to stick around as the douchey Captain America.
You must be out of your damn mind.
I agree. I don't. I know people love John Cena. I just don't see it. So
I don't either. I'm not a John Cena fan as an actor. I'm sure he's a really nice guy. He's probably very pleasant. I just don't get him as an actor.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll leave it at that. But those 3 actors will be reprising their roles.
Yeah.
He didn't say anybody else would or wouldn't.
Yes.
But those are the only 3 he confirmed. So last and definitely least, I'm hearing a rumor, and you and I mentioned this to you before the show started recording. And so take this with a grain of salt if you're listening right now. There is some unconfirmed reports that some documents have been unsealed from the Amber Heard case. Amber Heard and Johnny Depp.
Oh yeah, that was
big lawsuit, big brouhaha. Was like televised, big thing going on.
Oh yeah.
Well, Amber Heard is in the upcoming Aquaman movie, and reportedly, these documents are from her therapist during this time.
Okay.
And one of the things in the notes says that the director of Aquaman and Jason Momoa, the person who plays Aquaman, didn't like her and were trying to drive her off the set.
Man.
And that Jason Momoa was dressing up like Johnny Depp. Just to get under her skin.
Okay. I don't know whether that's true or not, but part of me wants it to be true. I want to see pictures of that.
I want it to be so true. Unfortunately, the only places I can find reporting on it are We've Got This Covered, Inside the Magic, all these slightly not so reputable agencies. I'm not seeing this on Hollywood Reporter. I'm not seeing it on Deadline. I'm not seeing it on Variety. And everybody points back to a Reddit thread.
Okay.
Which, and with that in mind, sometimes the Reddit threads are legit.
Yeah,
absolutely
exactly.
legit.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and they can get confirmed.
Yeah.
I'm just a little skittish on this one actually being news, but it's still freaking funny if it's true.
Yeah. I would love to see that.
Well, I think that is all the nerdy news I have. Do you have anything else?
I don't have anything else. It's been pretty active, an active week. So
super active week.
Okay. Well, let's end it on that.
And that's all for the nerdy happenings of the week.
Yeah, that's good. That's a nice groove. I like that. Get some funk down. Get some funk in this house. Yeah.
Speaking of funk, shall we do some stupid news?
That's funky.
It's the weird and stupid news with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
I need to get a beverage first. Hold on, folks. Hang on, folks, right there. You need a beverage too? We're taking a beverage break, folks. So hold on a minute. Stupid news takes a lot of hydration. Oh my goodness.
That's why there's so much bodily fluid on stupid
exactly. And you hit it right on the nail. Man, you're good tonight. Oh my goodness. Oh man. So in recent studies by the Indian Veterinary Research Institute has discovered that fresh cow urine contains harmful bacteria, which makes it unsuitable for people to drink.
What? Why is that a study? I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure I knew that.
Yeah.
Without studying it.
Yeah.
Somebody paid money.
Yeah. That's how it works.
Somebody to go. Man.
Hey, yeah.
We need to come up with a ridiculous study that somebody will pay us millions of dollars to do. Then we can just pretend to do it and give the answer we already knew was true.
Already know. That's insane. Well, the study, it's an expensive study. So the study reviewed by experts examined urine samples from cows and bulls and found 14 harmful bacteria. Imagine that.
Imagine.
One of these bacteria is Escherichia, which I can't pronounce, something that probably someone out there in the medical fields can say, but it's a E. coli type of bacteria. It's often linked to human stomach infections. So apparently, imagine that. A lead researcher explains that they analyses of 73 urine samples from cows and buffaloes, and humans showed that buffalo urine had better antibacterial properties than cow urine.
Oh, that's nasty.
Yes.
So you can drink the buffalo urine, but don't drink the cow urine.
You know what? That's totally up to you. I mean, that's totally up to you. I mean, it's whatever you feel like, whatever you're craving,
I think I'm going to avoid both.
And there's common belief that distilled cow urine is safe and lacks infectious bacteria. But however, the study, again, thank goodness for the study, it says the study did not focus on the distilled urine and research in this, in going into this, but the doctor, the researcher, he says caution against making any generalization about cow urine having antibacterial properties because, it is wee-wee, right? I mean, isn't that, everything filters through the wee-wee. So, I mean, I don't know.
Oh, that's nasty.
A nice big old glass of something that looks like apple juice. Anyway, that's to the next story. Speaking of urine samples, in Greece, they've had a lot of problems with some flooding and in that particular area. So anyway, but it seems like they've had some very bad sheep and. Exactly. There's a flock of sheep in Greece that broke into a greenhouse and devoured 600 pounds of medical cannabis, reported by Newsweek.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. The sheep were seeking refuge from flooding after an aftermath of Storm Daniel. Despite the floodwaters, the sheep appeared to have found greener pastures, although the sheep were unable to pull the wool over their shepherd's eyes.
Hey, this is great, man.
Yeah, so... Oh, that's right.
Oh my gosh.
That's right. The shepherd said that after consuming Mary Jane, his sheep started jumping higher than goats. That's right. Even the event dumbfounded the owner of the legal cannabis plant. He says, I don't know if it's for laughing or crying. We've had heat. We've lost a lot of production. We've had floods and we lost the rest because of sheep. And so anyway, the local farm owner told the local radio that, they found stuff to eat and jumping higher than goats, and which, never happens, but this was all reported in Newsweek. So, hey, sometimes a sheep has to relax too.
Hey, this is great, man.
That's right. So that is your stupid news.
This has been the Weird and Stupid News with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
Hey, this is great, man.
Okay, well.
Oh my goodness,
man!
Where do we go from there?
I don't know. We probably would go to episode 7, which is Dream and Madness. Oh, that's right. That's what we called it, or that's what they called it. Well, anyway, on that. So, So anyhow, we're going to get started, folks. Again, we're going to talk about episode 7, and this is like, the episode before the finale.
The penultimate episode.
Exactly. So this was not a focus storyline this week. It seems like
it really wasn't.
We've covered like so many things as if we're trying to wrap it together so the finale can, focus on one event.
We have to get the band back together.
That's right.
episode.
Exactly.
Yeah, it did. It definitely didn't have a good story arc. It was
No,
okay.
no.
We need to talk about this person so we can get them there. We need to talk about this person so we get them there. When we talk
Yep.
about this person so we get them there, and
Mhm.
then we will, once they all get there, we'll give them all little bits to do.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they if this was a Star Wars peanut jar, they fill the brim and try to close the lid, and man, let's talk about some fan service on this one.
And I was gonna say, and they threw in a couple of things just for fun.
Yes, they did. So much to talk about. Of course, again, there's so much happened, so there's so much to talk about, and it's going to be very interesting what we call this title of this podcast when we're all
No
done
idea.
with it, because I don't know. This is so much is going on, but unless for starters, Hera, guess what? She's in front of a trial, being
Yep.
you know
Not surprised. We're not really.
no, we're not surprised. Yeah.
No surprises there.
And of course, Senator Douchebag, he's of course next to General Akbar, which why don't we hear anything from Admiral Akbar? I mean, why don't we hear anything from him? You think? I mean, he's
only hear that it's a trap from him.
Exactly. That's all you hear and nothing else.
It's a trap.
So anyway, they have this big trial, and of course, here's a general, Hera. She's, for taking actions on her own. They don't, apparently Senator Zoloff, what is it? Senator Exion Xylophone.
Yeah, something like that.
We'll call him Senator Douchebag. So, Senator Douchebag through this whole entire, through the entire episode, it's been, he's on this defense council, with these other senators. And, from the very beginning, it said, no, we're not going to send the fleet for you to go out there and see if Thrawn's really out there or not, because it's all a bunch of yoo-hoo and hoo-hoo. And it's mainly because you want to find Ezra Bridgers. It's all emotional. You're not doing it for any kind of solid reasons. And of course, we all know better than that.
Do you think he's an Imperial sympathizer?
Or
just a jerk?
I don't know. Maybe a little bit of both. See, apparently this character is in the animated series called The Resistance. I hadn't watched the entire series. And of course, The Resistance is the build up to the new order. And so I don't know whether he is a pawn. I don't know if he's, I don't know, but that'd be fascinating. It makes me want to see that show. If folks, if you've seen all of The Resistance, the cartoon series, make a comment below. I don't know, but I just know that he is Senator Douchebag. So, but in this, it's interesting. We have Captain, Taver.
Captain
He is
Rex,
there.
Taver.
And of course, there was a comment, of course you have Chopper next to him, which I love Chopper. One of my favorite robots. Has an attitude, He
does have an attitude. But we get a surprise witness.
We do. And it's funny because you hear it from a distance and they won't let him through. And I don't know. I wonder if it would be great if Anthony,
Daniels.
It would be awesome.
He definitely did the voice. I don't know that he was actually in the suit.
No, I'm sure not. But yes, C-3PO shows up on the behalf of Senator Organa. And this is the second time. Now, what's fascinating about this is that, of course, Senator Douchebag tries to say this is a robot and we're not going to allow anything from, how can you believe a robot? And that's when Chopper gets upset. And
that's brilliant.
But Tever jumps up and he says, well, what happened on Mandalore? That's an example. And of course, the senator, he says, well, that was Moff Gideon. That was a small incident, which, come on. And that makes me, it kind of goes back to what you were saying. I'm kind of thinking, man, he's really downplaying a lot of what happened.
Yeah.
And
he has downplayed everything that is provable.
Yes. And
So
what's funny
that
is
makes
that,
me question what his real allegiance is.
well, and then it says, how many times, I'm thinking to myself, how many times can you prove this? Well, how am I supposed to prove it? I mean, I'm telling you this. We've seen it. I am
We
been trusted.
arrested people.
Yes. So give me a break. So, but I thought that was interesting. And I think, what was it here? It says, so he makes the comment about that, Senator Leia,
Mm-hmm.
she apparently, and of course we know this is not the case, but says that she sanctioned it, that she
Yeah.
sanctioned for them to go out on this reconnaissance mission. And I love how C3PO says that, and she was not aware of the senators, of the senators' vote. And also
In her
in
her
her
absence.
in her
That you
absence,
voted in her absence.
since she is the leader of the Defense Council. So
That's brilliant.
that was a brilliant scene, and it shut him down really fast.
Yeah.
I'm a little, I'm a little, I'm a little upset with with our chancellor,
Mon Mothma.
Yeah, she seems like she doesn't have much of a backbone to me.
Yeah. And that question of how serious do you really think this is?
Yeah,
And it just surely she knows.
yeah,
If this is true, this is really bad for the galaxy.
yeah,
If it's not true, no big deal. But if there's a chance,
yeah.
why wouldn't you check it out?
I mean, Hera knows, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, half of her squadron was taken out by the eye of whatever the hyper,
That
the
the hyperspace ring thing.
yeah, eye of
Which
Siren,
we all know is going to, they're going to dock that with the Star Destroyer. I mean, that's the whole point of that now.
And that's the whole thing. Yeah.
When I first saw it, I was like, man, that thing's big enough for a
Big
Star
enough.
Destroyer.
But
And
now we know why.
Now we know why.
Now we know why. Yeah. There was a lot in this, a lot of cameos. You had, you had Anakin back in a kind of a hologram type of thing while, on the way, inside these space whales, where they're, the hyper, going through hyperspace. You have Anakin and he's teaching her, through many of 20 recordings apparently that he made for her. And she was listening to the very last one while she was doing her training. And, it's fascinating, and she made the comment when she was talking to Hu Yang that he was a good master, which tells me that she finally came to resolve whatever demon she had inside of her that was causing so much pain in her and doubt in herself and conflict with her master Anakin. So we see some of that. And of course, and throughout that you have, of course, they get back with the space whales, they come back in and they spit them out and you have these mines. I mean, there's so much happening.
Yes.
But, there's, I'm not trying to blow through this, but, there's a scene, and you've seen this, in the scene where they're hiding in the graveyard. Yeah. And Thrawn brings out the sisters.
Yes.
And they were able to find where she was at, and they send their fighters against her. Now, Thrawn is, you in this show, you see Thrawn as the tactician that you remember from the show of the Rebels.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's throughout this whole thing, even what you might see, even when Morgan, says, where she sees something as maybe as a failure or a loss, Thrawn sees it as a plus because his whole thing is about, I want to know my enemy. And the whole thing was about him buying time. He says, okay,
Yes.
great. The situation, okay, they got away, or this didn't happen, or we lost some troops. Doesn't matter, because okay, that we didn't kill the people that we wanted to kill. Ahsoka's still alive, all this stuff. Who cares? We bought time and we're going back.
Yeah.
And that's all he cared
that's
about.
it's kind of a throwback to last
Yeah.
episode,
Yeah.
where he made the comment that whether they're killed or stranded is no, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant to him. It still serves the same purpose, that they are out of his hair. So he is still in that position of my goal is to leave here and return to my galaxy.
Exactly.
Everything else that happens is irrelevant to this one thing.
Well, and he's, he finds out, because last episode he wanted to know everything about Ahsoka, even her master. And of course, Morgan provides this information and finds out it's Anakin, and and of course Thrawn knows Anakin, of course, because knowing of Darth Vader, and so he tries to take advantage of kind of the unpredictability of her, being trained by, Anakin. And he basically, says that let them go their path and we'll just stay a couple steps ahead of them.
Yes.
And so, which was a great line. I kind of have to eat my words from last episode. I don't know whether the night troopers in the fight that they were having in the battle, when they were,
none of them turned to dust.
The dust. Now I still hold true that I believe that that whatever's coming out of the catacombs are going to be raised as an army.
I could see that.
I still see that. There was a question about, the troops. Now, I actually think, what's the name of the head night trooper?
I want to say Hezekiah, but that's not right.
No, it's some almost, I don't know if it's a biblical name.
It is a biblical name, but I'm not pulling it to mind right this second.
But I feel that there's a good chance that he is kind of the same. Kind of like
he's already been raised.
Yeah, he's already been raised.
Possibility.
Enoch.
I could see Enoch.
Enoch. So
yeah, I could see that as a possibility. It would make sense.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on in this. Anything stands out to you that that makes you feel like I don't know, that makes you have any questions? I know for me the other thing in this arc is that I'm surprised more than anything else is with Shin and Baylan. To me, this whole Shin and Baylan storyline, it's at first you're thinking to yourself, Baylan, he's a master that cares about his apprentice. But then there's a scene where they see from a distance, they see Sabine and Ezra and some of the creatures that that he is a nomad with, and he basically tells Baylan tells Sabine, not Sabine, but Shin to Shin. We can cut this out right here. I'm losing my voice. Losing my voice. And action. So Shin, the scene where Baylan and Shin, basically Baylan tells her that they have to part. I mean, it's
this is
fascinating.
This is a scene that surprised me a little.
Yeah.
You remember early on, I said I had this picture of Baylan training Sabine.
Yeah.
And kind of leaving Shin to the side.
Yeah.
Obviously that didn't happen.
No.
But Baylan is still leaving Shin to the side. Yeah, this line that you just popped up on the screen, my path lies in another. So I was curious what that meant.
Yeah.
But then we see him and Ahsoka fighting.
Mm-hmm.
So briefly, I thought that's what he meant.
Mm-hmm.
But then he walks, when she makes her escape,
Yeah.
he doesn't follow her. He goes off on his own direction.
Yeah.
So he still has some third thing that
Mm-hmm.
he is interested in that is not not related to any of this other. It's not
Yeah.
Thrawn. It's not the sisters.
Mm-hmm.
There's something else here that he is searching for. And the fact that the actor has passed away,
Yeah.
I am afraid if we don't get a resolution to Baylan's story next
Yeah.
episode,
Mm-hmm.
that we will never get a conclusion to his story,
Conclusion.
and it will just be a thread left undone.
Yeah, it's interesting. Baylan tells Shin to contact Thrawn when they see Ezra and Sabine, and then he says, "And take your place in the coming empire."
Yeah,
Which
obviously he is not.
Yeah, yeah, and I think honestly, you know, Shin is conflicted. You see it in her face. You know, here's my master, and she says, "You're not going to help." You know, she's shocked that my master's not going to come and help me take on, these two Jedis, and so she's having to battle by herself. Now, in this scene, when they battle, I'm a little taken back. There's a scene where Ezra refused to take the lightsaber.
Yes.
And I'm disappointed by that, because I want to see Ezra, who, as far as I know, is more in depth in the Force.
Yeah.
Trained.
Well, and he shows his Force abilities.
Yes.
He starts throwing people around.
Yeah. Eventually he does get he gets tossed to the side by Shin, but, and he makes the comment, "I don't need a weapon. I have the Force."
Yeah.
But I would have loved to seen him use the weapon. That would have been pretty awesome.
I think so too. My guess is, this is my guess, is they didn't want to wrap up this story with Shin yet.
Yeah.
Because if they had given him a lightsaber
and
the Force, and he fought Shin,
that would be the end.
I think it should have been the end of Shin.
Yeah.
But not giving him the lightsaber gave them the opportunity to let Shin's story play out a little longer. Yeah. So speaking of, you made the comment of her going up against two Jedi. One of my favorite lines is where Sabine says, "So Ahsoka took me on as her Padawan, as her apprentice." And Ezra goes, "Really?
Really?" And then he tries it. "Oh yeah, that makes sense." No, it makes sense.
Makes perfect sense.
That was also the scene where where Sabine is trying to catch up, all the events, trying to catch up Ezra and all the events.
But she still doesn't want to fess up to what she did.
She still didn't. But she talks about the Battle of Endor. There's one point too. Let me see here. Yeah, the Battle of Endor. Okay, so the Empire defeated, the Battle of Endor. Let's see here. And this was one that got my attention. It says, "So the Emperor died," and she said, "That's what they say."
Yeah, I heard that.
You catch that part? That's what they say. And then she says, Zeb's training recruits. So they make a callback to Zeb, which we remember seeing Zeb.
Yeah.
And then Hera's commanding the fleet.
Yeah.
But she mentions nothing about Ahsoka. And
right.
so,
well, because she believes Ahsoka has
Ahsoka's
died.
dead. Yeah.
Which makes sense. I mean,
Mhm.
she never saw Ahsoka come back. She only saw Ahsoka fall.
Yeah.
But we all know when you fall in Star Wars, you don't necessarily die.
Well, you don't.
Except for Han Solo so far.
Yeah. He does show up as a figment of your imagination in the last, sequel of the trilogies. But yes,
Yeah.
that is true. It's, it goes back to, we take a look at what's going on throughout this entire series. And there's a story arc of, of redemption. And I think Ahsoka believes that Shin can be redeemed. And that's a question. There's master and apprentice. There's, where Sabine felt like she, where it's funny, where Baylan tries to convince that Sabine has been betrayed and been lied to by her master, and Shin is hearing this and she hears this conversation, but actually Baylan did the exact same thing to her. And Shin sees,
he just abandoned her.
And guess what? Ahsoka came to rescue and protect her Padawan, even though, Sabine, in a way, kind of portrayed her. So, I mean, there is she has in this scene where you see her expression, and it's almost like there's a conflict in her eyes. She's one of those actresses that she can have a very solid, stoic look, like a mask, but you can still see there's something going on behind in her eyes. And
she's trying to figure this whole thing out.
Yeah.
And I think she knows that Ahsoka just let her go.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
so I wonder if, speculating recklessly, I wonder if she will go after Baylan, and if she and Baylan will have some last battle against each other, or if she's just going to ride back to the ship. I'm not sure where she's going.
I kind of have a feeling that's what she's going to do. I have a feeling that she's going to go back to Thrawn for some reason, but somehow something's going to happen where I have this feeling, and my guess is that she's not going to make it, but she does something in redemption, to I don't know, to wrong a right of some kind. Some kind of conflict, or maybe that,
some kind of, you spared my life once, I will spare your life once.
Yeah, exactly. And
Could be.
I don't know. I think Baylan, we're probably going to see a journey by himself, and we're, what's calling him? I don't know. I mean, a lot of people say, is it the Emperor? I don't know if it's really would be the Emperor. Maybe there's something. I really don't. I don't know. Stokes. Oh, Snokes. I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
I'm not sure where Baylan is headed next.
I mean, I'm
really afraid we're not going to ever see what he was after.
I don't think we are. I really don't, which is sad. And I don't know how they're going to write him off if he's still alive, at the very end of this series. Who knows?
Well, I mean, the easy way to write him off is he went searching for something and we all left. I mean, and you just never mention him again. It's just a lost thread that will never, maybe some comic book series will pick it up. But I think you're right. I think Shin will head back to Thrawn. She will return, and they will leave, thinking that they've left Ahsoka and crew, abandoned and trapped. of course, if there are any space whales left, they know that's not completely accurate.
That's true. That's true.
Because they had already figured out, because he made the comment, if any space whales come toward the planet, destroy them with no prejudice. He
exactly.
already knows that if somebody's going to get here, that's how they're going to get here.
Yeah.
They're going to get here via space whale.
Oh, exactly.
So
exactly
if we kill all the space whales before we leave, then nobody can follow us.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine him leaving without trying to destroy all the last remnant of whales.
Well, and that's, you know what, that makes sense. I mean, because they know that, you know, the whales, you know, apparently they know that the Ahsoka can ride a whale. So, so that'd be interesting what's going to happen there. And now when the whales are being attacked or by the mines, you know, they hyperspace, they got out of there.
Yeah.
So they're not there. At least
it appears not.
Yeah, they're not there. So how they're going to come back, you know?
I don't know how this is going to. How are they going to wrap this up in 45 minutes or an hour?
Or, you know, somehow, for some reason, that you know, Thrawn's is being delayed because they haven't left yet.
True.
And
so there's still a chance that they can sneak on board, stow away.
Yeah.
Or that Thrawn changes his mind and decides we need them as hostages, which doesn't sound like a Thrawn thing, though.
No, he's just Thrawn is more of, you know, he's not emotional, you know, when it comes to strategy. I mean, he doesn't react, he calculates.
Right.
And so I don't see him doing that. I don't think he finds them much of a threat. He probably finds them would be less of a threat if they were remain behind and he would leave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you know, and you
he's
know,
already willing to sacrifice men.
Yes.
To not. Yeah. He already said, if we leave those two strike ships, it's no big deal. You know.
Yeah.
They're not a huge loss in the grand scheme of things.
I mean, he calls back his soldiers to come back. But I still, you know, I don't know whether or not he would, you know, he probably sacrificed them too for the greater good and his greater good. So, but, so we've got all these things happening, you know, and you still see the scenes where they're continually getting these boxes look like, you know, caskets up to the ship, you know.
And he says they're almost done.
They're almost done. You know, you have Baylan going off, trying to find what he's looking for, what he's hearing. Shin is conflicted, not knowing what to do, but she goes ahead and, you know, heads back, you know, as far as we know. You have Ahsoka reunited with Ezra and Sabine. And from there, you know, we find out next week what they're going to do next, you know. So I don't know. Any guess, any predictions for next week's show?
I feel like we need a season 2.
I agree. You know, and the rumor mills was saying season 2, but there was a rumor.
I was going to say, I haven't seen anything that I felt was definitive. Yeah.
It was another Reddit, you know, it was another Reddit. So,
well, and what I read said that Disney had quietly greenlit season 2 before season 1 was even released. But, you know,
you would think that would, I mean, you would think if that was the case, Hollywood Reporter and Variety and all those folks would have gotten their hands on that.
Somebody should have been able to confirm it by now if that was true.
Yeah, that's totally
about
true.
the same, based on those reports, about that same time the writer's strike happened, and then the actor's strike happened. So, you know, maybe it's one of those, you know, the writers won't say that, they won't confirm anything, because they're not supposed to talk about
Yeah.
work.
Now, since we're talking about what might happen in the last episode coming up, episode 8, which is going to be next Tuesday evening Central Time, I know that.
Yep.
So we saw C3PO.
Yep.
Are we gonna see any more fanboy stuff coming up in the last episode? I mean, where we actually see a Rogue One Princess Leia.
I hope not.
I hope not either.
I hope not. I don't want to see Luke Skywalker. I don't want to see Leia.
No.
Yeah, I don't know what. I
You don't
really
want to
don't
see.
have a clue.
I don't know. You don't want to see a DH Wedge Antilles coming in. Which, why? I don't have any idea. We might see Zeb. I can see Zeb.
Yeah.
Zeb, he's part of the gang. I can see that the Rebel fleet, I don't know. Maybe, we're going to find out more of what's going on with the Rebel fleet. I mean, the New Republic fleet.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, we could see an R2D2. That would be fine.
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
That's fine.
I don't need to see that. I didn't need to see C3PO.
I don't need it either.
They could have just said we got a communication and from Leia, and it would have been fine with me. But I feel like they need to focus for the full 45 minutes. Is my guess.
My guess
they
too.
They need to focus on finishing this story.
I do. Yeah.
I feel like we're going to get a big cliffhanger of them, either of Thrawn leaving and them being, and the Rebels crew being abandoned.
Yeah.
Or we get or not abandoned,
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like we're going to have a big cliffhanger of
I do too.
Thrawn arriving back in the new galaxy.
I agree with that.
The Star Wars galaxy, and calling it good at that point.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
Kind of this Empire Strike Back.
How else it could play out.
Kind of, the Empire Strike Back type of scenario where we're back, Yeah. And so I don't know. I agree with you. I think, honestly, that's how it's going to end. I think I'm fine with that. I'm fine with it ending like that if we have a season 2.
Are you okay with it ending like that if the next thing is the movie?
It's too long. Too long away. Now, if they plan to do it as part of like the whole Mando 2.0 and the Book of Boba Fett and all that stuff, if they want to bring it in. Now, I haven't heard. Have you heard anything about another Mandalorian?
I haven't. Well,
okay.
I did hear that it was greenlit for a new season.
Okay.
But I haven't heard anything about story expectations.
Yeah.
Where it's going. Because they pretty solidly wrapped up all of the major, through lines. We're done. It was a good spot to stop and not make more Mandalorians.
I do too. I think that would be a great place to stop if they're going to do that. I don't know. I'm not ready for the Ahsoka to end. I think
I'm not either.
I'm not. I think there's more story to tell before the movie comes out.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to have to. I think they're going to have to keep people's interest.
Maybe they can come up with another show title.
Could.
A different show title where they can allow these characters to breathe in and out of the series.
Yeah.
Do a Thrawn series.
Well, that's exactly what I was thinking.
You do a series where Thrawn is the character.
Yeah. Call it Heir of the Empire.
Yeah, something.
And I mean, you don't have to be off the book. I mean, even though it'd be awesome, but call it Heir of the Empire.
Yeah. And it's all tied in with Thrawn as the antagonist, and he is the main character.
Yeah.
And we get to see all these other characters play in and out of what Thrawn is doing right now.
Yeah.
That could work.
That could work. Yeah, because you have different. You have different parts of the galaxy, and you could bring in, Mando in that situation, and you have the Book of Boba Fett. You have the characters from that, which I don't know what they're going to do with that. I don't know if there was such a negative spin on that series that they're not going to bring these characters back. I think there's some good characters that I hate to see wasted and not come back.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, they are canon. And so, hopefully some of these actors will come back. I mean, I like the actor who plays Captain Rex and plays the clones and so hopefully they'll bring him back. But I don't know if they're actually going to have him carry a show title by himself. I think it would probably be more of a sense.
I don't see there being a Book of Boba Fett part 2.
No, I mean, the Book of Boba Fett.
I could see him showing up from time to time in whatever the Mandalorian is doing.
Yes, exactly.
Or just getting temporarily involved in some skirmish with Thrawn's troops because they're on his planet. This is my planet.
Well, I mean, we have so the shows we have The Mandalorian, we have the Book of Boba Fett, we have Ahsoka, and it's almost like I feel like we could have another series like you're talking about, where it can be a title that all three can weave in and out of.
Yeah.
And I think that would be a good idea. And I think it would be have it based on the villain.
Yeah.
And I think that, and I think Thrawn would be a perfect main character in that. So anyway.
Yeah, I think that's doable. I would love to see it, but who knows? My ideas are always wrong.
Well, yeah. Well, that's what we do here at the show. We make sure we make lame predictions, and usually they're not right.
Correct.
So that's the only thing we are sure about.
I don't have words a lot
every single day and every week. So do we have anything else? Any other thoughts on this? Are we missing anything that's poignant?
I don't have anything else. I am interested to see when Ezra will pick up the lightsaber.
I hope so.
I think he will at some point. Maybe we'll see Hu Yang create him a new lightsaber.
Yeah. I think it's fascinating. You see these Jedis kind of popping up, and it's fascinating to me that in the sequel, there's only supposed to be the last Jedi. So I'm kind of, it's fascinating what's supposed to happen to Ezra and Ahsoka and Sabine. These people will
we see these characters pop up in a future Rey movie?
Yeah, Boken. I was kind of hoping this would recant the sequels, but anyhow. But anyway, because I think Sabine has done I would not have a problem with chopping off, the sequels and having Sabine be the Jedi that we focus on for the future, because I like that.
There you go. Let's do a Sabine Wren show. Instead of you don't have to call it Thrawn, call it Sabine.
Yes.
And it can be her journey to becoming a Jedi as she deals with the threat of Thrawn.
There you go.
And then you have the opportunity to bring all these other characters in.
That's a good idea. I think we just solved the problem.
We solved the Star Wars problem.
Well, send us the checks, the royalties. Would that mean we're still on strike? No, I don't think. So anyway,
we're not
folks,
part of the guild, so
no, we're not. So folks, you can catch all our good stuff. It's on speakingnerdy.com. You can also go to youtube.com/speakingnerdy, where we have our video podcast. We also have audio podcasts, Spotify, Apple, and all those great platforms that you like listening to your audio podcasts. And again, we come out every Friday. Well, most of the time on Fridays, give or take a little. time permitting. But yes, you can catch us every week. And of course, we'll be back again next Friday, talking about Ahsoka episode 8, which
finale.
Is the finale. So hopefully they'll give us a longer episode than 45 minutes.
I hope so.
Hope so too. But on that, I say thank you out there, and thank you for supporting us and listening. And we hope you have a wonderful week.
This has been the Speaking Nerdy podcast with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
And my good friend and compadre, Mr. Ricky Pope. But I'm not receding at all, though. That's the good thing, I don't think. I won't book a flight on that again. Anyway.